everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unbalanced with me, Cerys Davage. I've been waiting so long for this one. I'm back from Florida and I'm back from the Limb-Girdle Muscular Dystrophy Conference in Orlando, and I'm here today to tell you all about it. This episode is in two parts today. So the first half I'll be just kind of dissecting the conference in my own words, just my own experiences from it, and then the second half is quite a last minute idea I had whilst I was out there, but it's a little speed dating kind of vibe where I meet a few people that were at the conference and we get to hear a bit about their stories and what the conference means to them. So stay tuned for that later on. Just for a few interviews, I wish I thought of this earlier in the conference and therefore had the chance to meet so many more people on the podcast, but unfortunately the weekend itself was just such a whirlwind and everyone was so busy. You know, like when you're there you want to catch up with so many people, you want to meet so many people. There were talks on all day in different rooms, so it was actually quite difficult to sit down and record with people, and then by the time the conference finished that day we'd just want to relax and hang out by the pool or go for food or whatever. So there are a few people that I would have loved to have on the podcast, but they did make an appearance on my vlog. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube, I vlogged the whole week, not just the conference. I vlogged my experiences in Florida, exploring a bit around Florida, a bit of the hotel where we stayed and where the conference was. Obviously the conference itself, I tried to get as much footage as I could, and also Disney World. I did Disney World for one day. So we're going to start off today with this podcast just to go a bit deeper into what the conference actually was, and for you guys at home who maybe didn't get a chance to come to the conference this year, I kind of want to just share my experiences of it. Obviously I'm not going to be able to talk about absolutely everything that was there because I couldn't attend every single talk. This is just, you know, my own point of view and something I didn't really get a chance to do as much in the vlog, and something I wanted to save for this podcast was to actually talk about it. It's just so weird that it's already done. You know, when you anticipate something for so long, when you've been looking forward to something for months and months, and then it's suddenly just over with. Like, I'm back in Cardiff, it's all done. But hopefully this won't be my last. This was my first LGMD conference. It is just an incredible experience. I have been to a 2I conference before in Iowa. So 2I, if you guys don't know, is my LGMD subtype. But this conference is for all the subtypes. So you've got all the 2 somethings, which are now known as R something because R stands for recessive. So with LGMD, you've got dominant and recessive, and I am a recessive type of LGMD. I know it's referred as 2I, it's also now referred to as R9 because 1 and 2 for LGMD, 1 was dominant and 2 was recessive, and we went through the letters, but then obviously we ran out of letters for number 2, so now we go through R as recessive and then go through the numbers instead. So I is the 9th letter of the alphabet, so I am R9, recessive 9. So 2I, otherwise known as R9, is my LGMD. So a lot of the talks in the conference were science-based and to try and help people get more of an understanding of their own condition and other people's conditions. I thought it was really interesting to not just learn about my own condition. I'm not a scientific person at all, and every time I do go to a conference or speak to a specialist, I just learn a little bit more every time, and I'm gradually building up my knowledge. It's really difficult to kind of let everything sink in all at once, and it's difficult to learn everything at once, but I think with some time you do get used to knowing a bit more about your own condition just scientifically and how it works scientifically. What was incredible about this conference was that you had so many different subtypes, and Tristan actually said something quite funny. This was his first conference ever for LGMD, and it was just us 2 that went, and he said that he noticed that everyone was asking each other when they were meeting each other, what's your subtype? It's almost like asking people, what's your pronouns? Like, hi, I'm Cerys, I'm 2I, what's your subtype? But I thought it was really interesting how the demographic really ranged age-wise, you had people from kids, teenagers, young adults, up to adults, and you had families and grandparents, and it was just incredible to see the range of ages. But also I found it interesting to see the range of mobility aids that were being used there. You had young people in wheelchairs, but then you also had old people maybe just with like a stick or a crutch or something. So the symptoms really vary from subtype to subtype, and like I've mentioned before, there are different types of onsets. You can get more aggressive forms of LGMD and you can get kind of later onset versions. So I have the later onset version, which is homozygous, which essentially means that my symptoms don't start from really young. They start a little bit later in life, and like you guys know, my symptoms didn't start until I was a teenager. So it was really cool to see so many young people using mobility aids, and I just felt so represented. And it was so weird. Throughout the entire week, people would gradually start arriving at the hotel, and I'd know instantly if they were there for the conference, because either they had a mobility aid or they walked like me. They walked with a bit of a waddle, and it was just so nice to finally feel represented. I finally felt like being home in a way, which is really weird because obviously it was a new place full of people that I'd never met, or maybe some people that I'd met before. But you truly do feel a sense of belonging there, because there's more of us and there's less of them. When you're out in the real world, you can feel like the only one that's alone. You can feel like the only one that's going through what you're going through. But when you're at these events, like these conferences, there is truly a sense of community and a sense of belonging, because everyone just gets it. Everyone knows exactly what you're going through. We've all had these very similar experiences, and so it just feels like you finally are not the minority anymore. You're not the only one struggling. You're there with everyone else, and it's actually the non-disabled people that were the minority in that weekend, because it was mostly people with LGMD, and they are my people, honestly. Like, it's just been so nice to meet people and not have to explain anything, not have people coming up to me asking, oh, what happened if I'm in a wheelchair? Just people who get it. And that's truly the main takeaway I've had from this weekend, is that community is so important. And as expensive and as tiring as that trip was for me, it was so worth it, and I would do it over again in a heartbeat, because there is truly nothing like it. It was absolutely incredible. So the conference was on Friday evening to Saturday. So Friday evening was just the registration and a chance for people to meet for the first time and to get to know each other. So it was like a welcome reception mixer kind of thing. So the Speak Foundation are the hosts of this conference, and the work they're doing is absolutely incredible, and they put together this conference so well, as they do every year apparently. But yeah, it was just so nice to actually meet people, and I've said this on my vlog, it's just been so nice to meet people that I've been talking to online for so long, and I actually had a chance to meet them in person, and we just instantly clicked, and I met so many amazing, incredible people, and we just clicked, and it was just so lovely. The Saturday was quite a full-on day, and I hosted 2 talks. So right at the beginning, we had a little intro session in the main hall, some scientific talks, and I want to say as well that all the main talks from the main ballroom, the main hall, are all available online to watch with their PowerPoint presentations, which is great for me because I could not keep up with the pace and write everything down. My hand would have fallen off, and the information there is so critical, if you do want to learn more about your condition and about clinical trials that are going on, which is so exciting. It's all available to watch online now. It's finally up, so I will leave a link to that YouTube video down in the description, because I think it's a really good opportunity, if you didn't get a chance to go to the conference, to catch up on the main talks that were happening. I did find it quite science heavy as someone who just struggles to understand it all, but I think every time I do go to a conference, like I said, I chip away at my my knowledge for this, and I just kind of build up a little bit more every time. But like I said, this is more interesting because it wasn't just talking about 2i. There was a lot of talks on different clinical trials that were going on and research into cures. And actually, in one of the main talks about that, they used R9-2I as the example, the prime example for that, which is great for me because that's my condition. So I know that right now that there are two main trials going on for 2I, and that's the ribitol trial, which is some kind of white powder that you put in your food, very similar to D-ribose, but it's actually way stronger and way more beneficial. So there's a trial going on for that right now, which I'd love to enter once a space opens up for me. And so I'll definitely keep you posted on that. And there's also a gene therapy trial going on as well. At the beginning of the conference as well, there was also a moment of silence held for a 2D patient who recently died from complications from a clinical trial. So it was just really nice to honour that patient and for us to all kind of come together as a community to recognise what comes with doing a clinical trial. You know, when you do a clinical trial, for example, gene therapy, you are signing up to a lot of potential complications, but I think it's a true sign of determination to find a cure, not for yourself, but for other patients, for future generations with your condition. And it's just taking another step towards a brighter future for people with LGMD. So for those guys who are a part of a clinical trial, and if you watching are a part of a clinical trial, honestly, my hat goes off to you, because it is a big commitment, and you are really helping out the medical teams that are researching, but also giving hope for patients like me that there can be a cure and a treatment for LGMD one day. After the morning talks, which are all available online, we then had some breakout sessions, and this is where my first talk held place. I spoke with Johnny Favor about adapted driving. It was actually in the same session as the Life Hacks talk. So the Life Hacks talk took place first, and then it was me and Johnny talking about adapted driving. So Johnny is obviously from the US, and most people there were from the US. So he was talking about his experiences with getting an adapted vehicle in the US, and I was talking about my experiences in the UK. And I completely forgot while I was planning this that most people would not be from the UK, and I forgot to translate some words, like boot is trunk in America, and I just completely forgot about that. So I was talking about having a big boot, and I hope people actually understood what I was trying to say. So yeah, that was really fun, really interesting. Apparently that talk was completely full, and there were people waiting outside the room to get in because it was such a popular talk. I don't know, but it was just so nice to see a big turnout and to have some really positive feedback come from that, which was so nice. And not long after that, after lunch, I hosted the youth session with Serena, who you will meet on my vlog. If you haven't already, go check out my vlog, also linked below. But yeah, Serena and I just kind of hosted a little chat, and it was really informal. It wasn't like a sit down presentation, it was just a sit down chat. It was just a chance for us young people, maybe going through college or work for the first time, just to get together and to talk about issues, actually a lot of them that I talk on my podcast, but issues that us young people face with this extra barrier of having LGMD. So it was just really nice to connect with them and just get to know each other a bit deeper and have a yap, and that's what I do best. So that was really lovely, and the feedback for that was great as well. As for these talks, the youth session definitely wasn't recorded. I'll let you guys know if there is a recording of the adapted driving session. I'll keep you posted on that. I'm not 100% whether there is a recording anywhere to be found, but I will definitely keep you guys updated. Yeah, there were more breakout sessions after that, so things like how to navigate mental health when it comes to having LGMD, how to navigate exercise and nutrition, and I went to that session, the exercise one, and that was really full as well. So I was right at the back, and I think I kind of was quite overwhelmed from doing the talks, and I was just a bit like in my own world and a bit tired at that point, but I did manage to pick up that it is important to tailor your exercise to yourself, to your own body, to always check your exercises with a neuromuscular specialist or a physiotherapist, because every exercise is going to be different and it's going to work different for everyone. So I think it's easy to just slap on some YouTube tutorial on like an ab workout, but it actually might be damaging for us with LGMD. So I think it's really important to really work with someone who understands your condition and to understand how LGMD works, to be able to tailor a good exercise regime that works for you. And another good thing about LGMD is that it really keeps us on our toes when it comes to progressing, and we constantly have to adapt our routines as well. So that's really important. And the specialist also mentioned that it's not just about having a good exercise regime, it's also about having a good quality of life, which sounds easier said than done, but I think she was saying that, you know, having good mental health is also an important part of managing LGMD symptoms, and having a good like diet and things. But again, these are all things that you need to just consult with a specialist, because they're the ones that are going to be able to give the best advice. So yeah, and then after that in the evening, there were kind of breakout parties for all the different subtypes to get together. So I went obviously to the Cure LGMD2I party, and they hosted, and it was really nice to meet other people in the 2I community that I hadn't already, and obviously see some familiar faces in the 2I community that I've met in Iowa in the past, and also in the European conference last year when I went to Amsterdam. So I'm looking forward to the next European conference. If you guys watching have 2I and you've never been to a conference before, or you think America is too far to travel, there is going to be an LGMD conference in Europe, the second European one in Denmark at the end of May. I think it's the 24th and 25th of May, that weekend anyway. So please put that in your diary if you haven't already. Please consider it. And a great thing about these conferences, and I know for sure about the ones in America, is that there are stipends available for those traveling from afar. And obviously these conferences are very expensive, so the Speak Foundation do really take that into consideration, and they try their best to accommodate that. The fact that we stayed at the hotel where the conference was only because they managed to give us a reduced rate for the rooms for the conference. Otherwise, that place is way too spenny and I would not have been able to stay there. But it was just nice to know that we do, you know, have an extra bit of support in that way. There were more talks then on the Sunday, quite similar to the one on Saturday. It was very science-based, and it did end a bit earlier so that we could have a chance to just catch up and relax, and I know a lot of people went home that day. This is where I had the genius idea to record this next segment of the podcast. So I'm going to play that now, and then after these interviews I'm going to come back and talk about my experience at Disney World, if you guys are interested in sticking around for that, because I've had so many questions online about my experience at Disney World. I only did one day, but I did 3 parks in one day with a wheelchair. So if you guys are interested in that, stick around after the little interviews that I have. But for now, sit back, relax and enjoy. So my first victim today to the podcast, my first guest is Grace.
Yes.
How you doing?
Hello, biggest Unbalanced fan right here. So very excited to be together with Cerys in person.
So nice to actually chat with you in person and not just online
Yes.
on Instagram or TikTok comments.
Yes, exactly.
So tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm Grace. I'm 25 years old and I have limb-girdle muscular dystrophy type 2J, and I was diagnosed about 3 years ago.
Amazing. And what were your first symptoms?
So back when I was around 20, I started having a really hard time walking to my classes. At college, I could not keep up with my friends like I used to be able to. And then I was having a harder time getting up from a seated position, getting up from the floor. And then eventually stairs became a nightmare for me. And I would need a railing, and then it just got worse and worse with time. And eventually I was traveling and my legs kept giving out and I really hurt my ankle. So at that point, my parents were like, you know what? Maybe let's see some doctors. There might be something going on here.
Wow, and here you are.
And here I am.
And you've got an extra little someone with us. Can you
I
introduce
do.
her, please?
Oh, yes. Can't forget her. This is Delilah. This is my first cane. I got her back in November, so she's on the newer side, but I'm so happy to have her. She's world famous now. She's been traveling with me a lot. But yeah, I can't imagine my life without her at this point. So thank you, Delilah.
We love her. You also have a mobility scooter, which is out of shot, but
Yes.
she's also so cool. Does this mobility scooter have a name as well?
So she looks kind of like a Betty.
Okay.
The scooter is actually a rental for just this weekend because this is a lot of walking happening in this conference center. And traveling can be a lot for me, and I'm sure all of us here, but it gets very exhausting, and I wanted to be able to keep up and keep my energy levels high during this conference. So the scooter's kind of a trial run for this weekend, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm getting a little scared of how used to it I'm getting and how good I am at driving it.
Yeah.
Because now I might want to keep one.
Well, how have you found the conference? We're nearing the end of the conference. How have you found it?
I've absolutely loved it. I was honestly really nervous to come to this because as much as I love talking to all of you guys online and it's helped me feel better about my situation, I hadn't really met a lot of people that also have LGMD in person. So I wasn't sure if it would maybe make me feel more overwhelmed or like worse about everything or just disappointed about the whole situation, but honestly it has done only the opposite of that. I feel so much better and more confident about what's going on, and also I feel like I have this whole community now. I have like a new family.
Yeah, definitely. It really does feel like a family, like you really belong here. It's so nice. What's been your favorite thing and like your biggest takeaway from the conference?
I think actually using the scooter and feeling the confidence to do it around everyone else that has their mobile devices. Something I was thinking about yesterday was it was one of the first times I felt actually normal in a long time. Like back in the normal day to day, I think it's easy for us with this health condition to feel out of place or like we're the odd one out, and we're constantly thinking about our mobility and how to get from point A to B and how our friends are going to help us with that. But here, all of us are dealing with the same things. We all have those same thoughts, so we don't have to worry about what it looks like when we're limping around or how we're going to get from one room to the other. We're all kind of dealing with the same things, and so it feels normal.
Exactly. I love that. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I love Unbalanced. Go Unbalanced. I love it. Subscribe.
Oh, I want to ask a question that I ask all my interviewees, which
Yes.
is, you can probably guess it. What's one piece of advice that you'd give someone who has just been diagnosed?
Okay, yes, this is a great question. So it took a very long time when I was diagnosed for me to be open about it, and I want people to know that that's okay. It is a grieving process when you are diagnosed with an incurable disease that will continue for the rest of your life, and that is progressive, and it's okay to have those heavy emotions, but also, when you are ready, do seek out this community because we are here and we're ready to welcome you, and it will help so much, I promise.
I love that. Thank you so much, Grace.
You're welcome.
So nice
I
to
love
see
you.
I love you too.
Oh, bye.
So my next guest is Solomon. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to actually be like meeting you guys in person. It's been so great. So tell me a bit about yourself.
So my name's Solomon. I'm 30 years old. I have limb-girdle muscular dystrophy type 2B.
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 Okay.
To be or not to be.
To be or not to be. I love that one. That's definitely not a joke I've made before. So when were you diagnosed?
So I had an interesting journey in which I was misdiagnosed sort of in my late teens and then got my official diagnosis just 2 years ago. In high school, I started having these really weird abdominal symptoms that led me to getting blood work, which led to the high liver enzyme thing that a lot of us experience. And that kind of had this snowball effect of not being sure what's wrong, was getting fatigued really easily, turned into muscular dystrophy just by chance of a specialist being in the room during one of my blood panel things, just by sheer chance. But my actual onset didn't start until I was about 24, and I just started falling randomly I would be like walking somewhere or like trying to stand up and I would like fall forward and like face plant or like fall backwards trying to get into a doorway, and it just kind of became a cascading effect.
Okay, and you knew that's not normal.
Yeah.
People don't fall that often.
I mean, I was accident prone as a child, but felt kind of egregious.
It's a step too far,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely one thing that set me apart from my friends, is just like the random falls, and they'd just be stood there like, well, I don't really know how to help you here.
Yeah, it's really almost infantilizing in a way. Because like the first time it happened, I was walking down my driveway and I literally like fell forward like a child, and I was like, and didn't really know what to do other than just like get up and be like, that was weird.
Yeah, wow. So you're here, you've had a diagnosis, you've met your people.
Yeah.
What's it been like?
It's been really cathartic in a way that I'm still trying to find the words to describe. This is my first conference, and one, it's really nice kind of just being somewhere where everyone has like mobility aids and different body types and things like that. So I feel part of something and not like in this weird voyeuristic position that a lot of us feel like when we're kind of on display, for lack of a better term. So it's nice to kind of just blend into the crowd for once while still being in a wheelchair and being able to like access the things that I need to have access to.
Definitely.
So, but it's been really great, and I think it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be sitting on the feelings for a few weeks before I finally have the right words to describe.
Yeah, it's definitely been overwhelming, but in the best
Yeah.
way, you know? Like, in the outside world, let's say, like, I'm the one by myself that's in a wheelchair, and then everyone else is stood around, whereas here, like, the majority of people are in wheelchairs and mobility aids. So it's just like a sense of belonging in a way, isn't it?
Also, like the situational awareness everyone has is really nice, not having to constantly
Yeah.
tell people to move or,
Yeah.
you know.
Everything's been thought out, like,
Yeah, and
accessibilized.
even like the people who are here helping out who aren't disabled, having that awareness and knowing to move out of the way or move other people out of the way and kind of give room for people who need it.
Exactly, yeah, because there's a lot of people without LGMD here as well, like whether they're caregivers, family, partners, and we both have our partners here, and
we
it's
do.
just so nice for them to just know, you
Yeah.
know, like if someone else is struggling as well, like they get it as well. Like
Yeah, totally.
my partner's been, you know, kind of aware and around and, you know, ready to help other people as well, because he knows what it's
Exactly.
like. You
And it
know?
also sets a really good example down the line for people who might not know how to help disabled people.
Yeah.
I think having that sort of visual example, because a lot of it's just due to a lack of exposure.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just genuinely don't know what to do in the face of disability, even though anyone can become disabled at any time.
Exactly, yeah.
So I feel like it's, in a way, unintentionally paying it forward.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always good to educate yourself, because you never know, you might be a part of the community one day. And we'll be
That's
here
not a
to welcome you. So to finish off, I want to ask you a question that I ask all my interviewees, which is, what is one piece of advice you'd give someone that's just getting a diagnosis, or your younger self?
Advocate for yourself. It is so important. I think approaching everything from the closed mouths don't get fed mentality. People don't know how to help unless you tell them how to help, and it's uncomfortable and it sucks, but also it's really necessary. And
Yeah.
I think it can apply to anyone, disability or not, knowing how to stand up for yourself, how to ask for what you need.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gets easier the more you do it.
Yeah, it's a form of self-care, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, amazing. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just thank you for having me. It's been great meeting you.
I know. Can we hug?
Yeah.
It's been so nice to meet you.
Me too.
I'm loving this speed dating thing, because next we're moving on to Santana.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing so well. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to actually meet you in person. Like, we've been talking so much online, and there's nothing like being able to finally see each other and hug for the first time.
Yeah.
I think when we saw each other, we were like,
Yeah, it was crazy because it's like I recognized you
Yeah,
immediately.
I know.
But that was our first time actually meeting.
it was so fun.
that was awesome.
So tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Santana. I'm 24 and I have LGMD type 2B.
Cool. And we just interviewed your brother, actually,
Yes,
Solomon.
yes.
So can you give us a bit of an insight into your journey with LGMD?
Yes. So I was doing dance in high school, very active in that way, and it started getting really hard for me to keep up. We would have to do these like timed runs, like 2 miles that were graded. And your grade was based on how fast you finished the run. And so I was doing the run one day and I just couldn't even finish it. I probably got like a little over a mile and my legs were just so sore. Just to a physical point of exhaustion, like I can't. So I had to stop, and I think I got like a 0 on the run. My teacher failed me, and I was like practically failing dance at that point, and that obviously wasn't normal. So we went and did all the blood work and stuff, and then of course the high liver enzymes, and that was kind of that. We already knew that my older sibling has it, so it was just kind of like an assumption, like you have all the symptoms and signs, it's most likely the exact same thing.
Okay, cool. We're here in the conference where we're not singled out, we're all together, you know, we're all like facing the same challenges and have the same kind of experiences. How have you found the conference?
It has been so welcoming. Not that I didn't anticipate it, but everyone was just so friendly and wanting to get to know everyone, and you meet someone once and you see them again and they'll say hi to you, and it's like an automatic friendship in a way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
because you're
because
connected in like a deeper way.
exactly. It's like an automatic, vulnerable connection. And then also, a lot of people are here like with their families or their spouses or partners and whatever it is. So you're not just meeting those people, you're meeting their family, their friends, their support system also. So it's like a whole web of people.
It's been amazing. What's been like the main takeaway for you from this weekend?
I think the main takeaway is just how big the community is and how connected everyone is. It's like I kind of knew it existed, I knew it was there, but I guess it feels more tangible now, like really hearing about all of the resources, all the different foundations for different subtypes, and there's just kind of something for everyone, even though it's such a different experience for everyone, they still do a really good job at like covering that and bringing everyone together.
For sure, yeah. I'm going to end this with one last question. What piece of advice would you give your younger self or someone that might be struggling with a diagnosis?
My biggest piece of advice would be to never stop pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I think a lot of things become uncomfortable as even just daily tasks become harder. It's really easy to kind of go into yourself and want to shelter yourself from that discomfort. But I think the more you push yourself and do those little things, get the mobility device, you know, take it out to the grocery store, tell your friends about what you're going through, ask a stranger for help. Like all of those things, the more you do it, the easier it is, and then you kind of build that confidence back up that kind of gets taken away a little bit when you have a progressive disability.
Yeah, definitely. And it takes a while to be open about using mobility aids, especially with your friends.
Oh, yes.
How have you found that journey?
I luckily have the most amazing friends in the whole world. They have always been super supportive, no questions asked, whatever I need, they'll do it in a heartbeat. So I'm very lucky in that sense that they really don't care. They're just kind of like, if we can get you there, then we'll figure out a way to get you there.
Exactly. That's the most important thing, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't define you as well.
No, not at all.
You do a lot of TikToks
I
talking
do.
about life with LGMD, and I think they're honestly amazing. Like, you just get so real and it's so relatable. Where can we find you?
You can find me. My username on TikTok is Tana Needs Help. So that's where to find me, because we do. And I was like trying to get creative with the username, and I was like, then I was like, I just want to put it out there, like, I need help. You know, it's hard to ask for help, so if I just make it my username, like, yeah, I need help,
I love that.
then maybe it makes other people feel a little more comfortable.
That's such a good idea.
So, Tana Needs Help. Go follow me.
Go find it. You're missing out if you're not. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So good.
Yes, it has.
Listen, and we're going to stay in touch.
Oh yeah, this is not our last
This
collaboration.
is not over.
Just the
we'll
first.
Be back bigger and better. So next we have Grace. Hi, Grace.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Grace and I actually met in the Iowa LGMD2I conference in 2022. So we go back, you know.
Yeah. Well, and we met online in probably like 2021 or something.
Yeah.
Like even before that.
It's been so nice to see you and to catch up and things.
Yeah.
But tell me a bit about yourself.
I'm Grace. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I have LGMD2I, like you. I was diagnosed in 2020 when I was 16 after I got rhabdomyolysis from lacrosse January of 2020, and then I was hospitalized for a few days, and they were just kind of like, that's weird, because I ran like a mile and that's it, and then just sat out of lacrosse for like 2 months, and then when I tried to start participating in it again, I got rhabdo again, and then so they gene tested me and found out that I had muscular dystrophy, which was also during quarantine, so that sucked. Yeah.
That must have been hard, right? So you were in hospital whilst COVID was happening?
Yeah, like the March 12th, March 13th, whatever day where everything shut down. I was in the hospital, so I missed my last few days of junior year where they like taught everyone how to use Zoom and stuff for the rest of the school year. I didn't know. Well, they made me Zoom from the hospital to practice.
Really?
And then I got rhabdo 2 more times in 2020. So I've had it 4 times in total.
Wow. And is that like a result of working yourself too hard?
Yeah, so I got it from, running a little under a mile at lacrosse, and then jogging a little at lacrosse, and then tubing at my friend's lake house twice. The next 2 times I had it were both from tubing, but I haven't had it since then. So, yeah.
Wow. So we're here at the LGMD 2025 conference. How have you found it?
I've had a lot of fun here. I feel like Iowa's was fun, but it was a lot smaller, and I've met so many more people here from everywhere, and the Iowa one was only 2I, right? And so this, I've seen how different all the subtypes are, and it's been cool, and all your talks were good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing to not just meet with people with 2I, but also other people with lots of different subtypes, and we have still so much in common, right?
Yeah, and we have more like fun hangouts at this one. Like we'll have drinks with people, go to the pool, whereas I feel like Iowa's kind of just conferences, you know.
So to finish, what is one piece of advice that you have for someone that's going through a diagnosis?
I would say to lean on people like friends and family, but also medical people. I already had a therapist, but I spent a lot of time talking about it in therapy, learning how to advocate and kind of accept it. And I would just be conscious when looking online and just searching it up on WebMD and stuff like that. It can be kind of scary. So yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
And we'll keep in touch for sure.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm just so grateful for these guys. I mean, they're amazing, and I'm so honoured to have had them on the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. I'm just going to quickly talk about my experience at Disney World. You will see it all in my vlog as well, but I've had a lot of questions since then asking about accessibility and what it was like taking a wheelchair. So it was quite a full circle moment for me, because as I've mentioned before in my podcast, the first time I ever used a wheelchair was at Epcot in Disney World. When I first needed that wheelchair when I was 16 years old, 8 years ago, I really, really struggled. I cried when I sat in the wheelchair. I felt ashamed. I felt annoyed at myself that I'd given up, but I desperately needed that wheelchair. Whereas now, I'm proudly posting about it online. I'm proudly talking about it on my podcast. And I'm inspiring other people to do the same, to just be proud of being wheelchair users and to open up and to accept needing mobility aids. It's not a bad thing at all, but I think back then 8 years ago I saw it as a bad thing. I saw it as me giving up, but it's not at all, and I honestly would not have been able to do Disney again without a wheelchair. But it was absolutely boiling. It was so humid, and now I see why people don't tend to go in the summer. Oh my goodness. So I'm really glad I had it, and poor Tristan, fair play to him pushing me around. He was an absolute trooper. He did amazing. What was great about the experience was I was worried that I was going to be held up in the queues, but they saw me in the wheelchair and instantly took my wheelchair to the exit ready for me, let me skip the line, go straight on the ride, and a couple of the rides were accessible. Most of the rides you do have to transfer, so if that's not something you're comfortable in, I really don't know what the other option is, because most of the rides were really awkward to sit in and to get out of. If it wasn't for Tristan being there to help me, to lift me out of these rides, I would not have been able to do it. There were a couple of rides where you could stay in your wheelchair. For example, we did It's a Small World, and they're all on boats, if you guys don't know. And there was one big accessible boat with a ramp straight from the platform. You can wheel onto it and just sit in the wheelchair on the boat and put your brakes on. And that was so cool. I didn't actually do that. I ended up transferring, but the seats were so low, I would not have been able to get up. And if it wasn't for Tristan lifting me out of there, I would have just gone on with my wheelchair. But it was good to know that option was there. I have to say, the staff were so accommodating. They would really look after your mobility aids and let you skip the queue to go on the ride straight away, or they would give you a time to come back to avoid you having to wait around in the queue, which I think would have been more of an issue for me if I didn't have my wheelchair, because in my wheelchair I'm not standing around. But anyway, it was still nice to have that treatment. And during the fireworks and the parades, there are accessible spots just for people in mobility aids to be there, but from my experience they tend to book up really quickly, so you have to turn up like at least an hour before the event actually starts to get a space. And then leaving the Magic Kingdom, obviously we were in the Magic Kingdom at the end, we did Epcot, Hollywood Studios and the Magic Kingdom. The end was such a rush to get on the monorail and to get home. The queues were insane, but there was a separate queue for accessibility and for people in mobility aids, and we just got straight on to the next train, and it was absolutely amazing. So I think it is really important to leave good reviews as well as bad reviews. You know, I think people are more reluctant when it comes to good reviews. When you get a bad experience somewhere, you're more likely to talk about that bad experience online and to share it with people and to leave it on TripAdvisor or whatever. But I think I had such a good experience that I think it's really important to share that as well. The staff are so lovely and so friendly, and they will do anything to help accommodate that. And we didn't really go as much for the rides anyway. We just wanted to be there and scout the place out and cover as much ground as we could, which I could do because I was in a wheelchair and I didn't have that restriction of not being able to walk that much. So it was truly a great experience. If you guys want to check out more content that I made in Florida, don't forget to check out my YouTube, where obviously I did my vlog, and also my Instagram at Unbalanced Podcast. I have a whole highlights page dedicated to Florida and the LGMD conference. My next episode will be an exciting one because it's on my birthday in a couple weeks. Only 2 weeks left until my birthday, guys. How exciting. So that'll be a special solo episode as well to celebrate my birthday, because, you know, I'm definitely not self-centered at all. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars. That really helps me out. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like this video and to subscribe. Don't forget to follow this podcast Unbalanced on your favourite podcast platform. Thank you so much, as always, to Cure LGMD2I for sponsoring this podcast. And I will be back with you guys in a couple weeks for my birthday. Bye, guys.